always a pleasure talking to you. The
That's
only
great.
sad part is, if I could say sad, is look, I love winter. I just
Mm.
hate having to shovel. Okay. And
Think of it as training.
okay, I can go as training, but
Training.
this past couple of months have been a little too much. Mind you, I will say the snow wasn't packing, it was light.
I'll let you on a little secret. I'm a little
Yeah.
bit done with shoveling large amounts. We've got lots. We've got lots. I get up. I love the 5 or 10 centimeters of very light snow that we've been having here at
Yes.
in our Collingwood HQ. But it's part of life in Canada.
Yes, it is. And what makes the snow as a celebration is what you guys are going to be doing coming up very soon. It has to deal with this and so
Mhm.
many other sports and
Yeah.
fun, family fun that's going to be happening with all this snow. What is going to be happening, my friend,
Well,
on,
next
I do
next
believe it's
Friday.
February 20th?
You have it nailed. Yeah, February 20th is National Ski and Snowboard Day, and that includes Nordic skiing. I think it goes even lower than that. Canada's a winter nation. There's no
Yes.
escaping it, right? Some years it's a little more winter than others, and this year's the East is having a little more winter than some other places. But the net of this whole thing is that we just fundamentally believe that Canadians should be active year round. And that being active, being outdoors in winter, the temptation is to hibernate, to head in and run, scurry from your car, from the transit to your apartment or your house, or into the grocery store. Yeah, it's a little bit cold, but you should be active, and there's so much physical and mental wellness benefits that you get out of that. The kind of uplifting of being out on the hill that we just want people to come out and celebrate with us. So, get active in winter. We'd love you to come skiing, snowboarding, or cross country skiing because we think that's a great way to experience some very beautiful places, whether that's in a city park for Nordic skiing or it's at one of the ski hills across Canada. Come on out and have some fun.
Now, you kind of mentioned the physical part, a little bit of that, which of course gives us exercise. But what's also important is the mental part. Can you talk about that, please?
Yeah, I think we have learned, we being Canada, have learned the value of being outdoors, the value of seeing beautiful places and taking that pause moment. And maybe that's one of the good things that came from the pandemic experiences. We suddenly couldn't go to the gym, we couldn't go to various places we would have gone, and so we went outdoors. And golf has benefited from it. Hiking, being outdoors has benefited. Certainly, trails around the city, trails around where I live, north of the city and across Canada, are busy. And I love that they're busy because people are outside being healthy. But I think we can all relate to that feeling of getting to the trailhead or being at the ski hill and going, "Wow!" Just the weight lifts from our shoulders. Maybe some of those things that aren't going really well in your work life, or I don't want to talk about personal lives, but people, just the daily stresses are gone for a little while, and that's okay. That's okay. And our partners in the Canadian Mental Health Association, I think they've been great about bringing us on board with their Winter Moves You. Get moving, get out there, get exercise. The old endorphins, I guess they're called. I'm not a doctor, but the endorphins that you get from participating in any sort of activity are critical. We can all be
You know, when
happier.
when I was a kid, long, long, long ago, it really was a different vibe. I'll use that term
Hmm.
because when it snowed, you pulled out the toboggans. It was almost instantaneous, and you knew where all the other kids were going to go. Even if you didn't have a toboggan, you pulled out cardboard, you pulled out garbage bags just to slide down those hills.
Yeah.
I almost every neighborhood had a skating arena where the kids would play hockey, or you would just come out and ice skate, have that hot chocolate and hot dog, or there was a pond or somewhere you could go to ice skate. Are we
Yes.
losing this vibe in today's society? Because I don't see a lot of that anymore.
Difficult for me to comment on. You and I are products of a similar age,
Yeah.
and I remember those days with great fondness. I remember being able to take my blue magic carpet to school and slide down into the creek bed behind the school, and all the teachers were cool with that. I think I think there's some great things that come with greater emphasis on the safety of our children, and the sort of watchful eye that school boards and other outlets are putting into these things. That said, how do we teach kids to manage risk if we don't allow them a bit of risky play? And there's great volumes out there about the idea that we're losing the opportunity for risky play. I think there's a middle ground, and I would love to see kids out sliding on magic carpets, and there's something banana slides or something we had when we were
Yeah,
kids.
there was.
And the big old maple toboggan, right? The old bent wood toboggan, which still actually lives in my parents' garage. I should go get that. But I think we have more things to do, right? There was a, emphasis on other sports that now take up time. So I think I'd like to see people come back to just good honest snow play. You remember digging a fort in the banks? Believe it or not, here north of the city here, I can actually do that. I was thinking that the other day. I'm like, wow, I can actually build a snow fort. My back might be a little old for that these days, but it's I haven't seen snow like this in a while. So get out and play.
Yeah, you're so, you know what, and somebody's gonna say, "Oh, it's violent," whatever. I miss snowball fights. I really
Um,
do. That was just,
Yeah, we can be nostalgic. In many cases, there was a phrase that was once told to me. If you idolize or romanticize the good old days, you weren't there. In this case, you and I were there, and I think in truth, there's a great fun. You can still do it. It's
yeah,
just it's I think you just have to be able to respect everybody's needs. I mean, maybe you and I, we may have gone to the same school district back in the day, but
probably,
I don't know. Did I hit you with a
probably.
snowball or did you hit me? But yeah, good fun.
So what
Good
do you
fun.
tell people too about, maybe they do want to, like, newbies,
Hmm.
as you know, I've only skied once. I had a blast, but like I said, the second I put those skis on, full, I was on my face, but I had so much fun doing it. What do you tell people who may want to try this, but they're like, "Oh, I don't want to drive all the way out to, say, somewhere like Blue Mountain." Or, I feel like I got to drive out somewhere. Oh, I gotta have to buy this equipment. Oh, things are more expensive these days. What do you say to them, and
I
not throwing that negative out, but put the positive spin on it?
I think come try it. I think one of the beautiful assets we have in Canada, and this happens in almost every major city in Canada. We have regional or municipally owned ski centers. For Toronto, that's Earl Bales Park in the North York Ski Center. I learned to ski. I grew up at Keele and Finch. I learned to ski at Yonge and Sheppard. Now, I'm thinking we might have been neighbors, but
Yeah.
really, it's just really this situation where I could get on the bus. I was the
Mhm.
only one in my family interested when I stopped playing hockey, and I went to North York Ski Center and I rented everything. My parents rented it for me, let's face it. But and I went and took a lesson, and I thought I was the king of a small ski area. There were some humbling moments, but I learned under supervision with a lesson program and got to ride the chairlift, understood how to safely do that, understood how to, in those days it was only skiing. But it was there are ways to do it, and you've got Earl Bales. If you live up north of Toronto and area, you've got Uplands, you've got Hockley Valley, you've got all the ski centers across the 401 in Oshawa and the Lake Ridge Road area, Lake Ridge in particular, but Dagmar, and you can find a way to get out and experience skiing for the first time before you make the commitment to travel to a Blue Mountain or to Barrie and see some of the slightly larger hills. We in the ski industry really believe in an internal statement. We call it breeder, feeder, leader. People learn at small ski areas, and then they move on to those mid-sized ski areas, and then like maybe me and a whole bunch of other people, we move on to skiing out west or skiing in Europe, or I think I've skied in almost every skiing country in the world these days, and it's been a 40-year passion of mine that turned
Yeah,
into a career. It's not so
I hear
bad.
you. I hear you loud and clear. What do you say about folks who are, my age, and they're like, because you were talking about growing up to do this, but what if somebody my age decides, I'd love to do it, but I'm fragile, I'm this, I'm that. Again, the negative spin going into a positive spin. Because, and let me just throw this out too. maybe you don't want to ski. Maybe you go cross country skiing.
Ah, well,
There's a
yeah.
switch there too.
I think there is a snow sport for you if we're talking about people and people who are older. I think there is a lot of truth to that. 60, 70, even into your 80s is the new 40, 50, and 60.
Yep.
It's definitely true. I live very close to a community that is some very intensive, active older people. They're not slowing down. They don't go out as much, maybe. They have other interests, largely because there's so much to do. But the same people that are playing pickleball all summer are skiing, cross country skiing during the winter. And I think it's really a case of they recognize that value of just coming out, making a few turns, having the social side. I spent years as a leader at a ski resort in Ontario, and we used to have the Dawn Patrol, we called them. It was a group of men who met every winter day to have a coffee in the base lodge, socialize, put on their ski gear, go out for an hour and a half, and then go home to do whatever else they were going to do. We can all do it. We can all find time. I think our sport is often characterized as extreme or dangerous or big jumps and big powder, that is. And I think nothing could be further from the truth. I used to work with a man who coined the great term, we're just a really great social pastime. Whether it's families or friends, it's a way of connecting with people.
I agree with you. Before we go, how do you think we're doing so far in the Olympics?
I'm pretty excited. I think, Canada is, I'm proud of our response to everyone's results. I love watching the coverage, and our men and women, our people who are there, are congratulating every medal winner, whether it's a Canadian medal winner or not. And what are we at? 2 silvers and 3 bronze right now. Is that really the count we want, or are we just there seeing some really great role models who are fantastic people?
I agree with you.
I think
Absolutely agree with
I
you.
think we'll do better. We're slow starters though, just like Vancouver. So there'll be some joy.
Yeah, we always are. We always are. Again, what's the date that we're gonna go out there and do this all together?
Oh, we're going skiing on February 20th, 2026. You're welcome to be. I'll be at Georgian Peaks doing another event, and then over at Snow Valley. So come on out.
Always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.